Happy Furahi Day. Thank you so much for joining. This is the day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We're live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. Use the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316 and talk to us also through the SMS line 20316. Pale Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316, and let us get talking. You can always contact us with any inquiry that you have, and someone will be sure to get back to you. Now today we look at different stories that are making headline across our country and also across the globe, and we start with the story of KEMSA and the suspended KEMSA CEO Jonah Manjari today testified before the Senate ad hoc committee on COVID-19, which is probing the alleged procurement irregularities in that agency. During the questioning, Manjari said he bypassed some of the procurement procedures because he was under a lot of pressure from, among other people, the health CS Mutahi Kagwe. The CEO also said the agency had not procured many of the PPE's equipment by the time the first COVID-19 case was reported and confirmed in our country, that is in March 2020. And he said that the cases, as they increased, he was put under a lot of pressure to supply, that is, some of the equipments which the agency did not have at that moment. Listen in.
The fortunate thing is that I don't work alone. I work with the management team. I'm accompanied today here by the interdicted legal director, who was part of the advice that I was getting, and also the acting procurement director. And they're here to confirm whether we followed the law.
The question is only, where the CEO, through you, Chair, where are the letters? You know, yeah, I agree. I've seen the list of the people you have came with. Where are the letters? Can you table the letters?
The acting CEO, I think, can provide those letters because I don't have access to the office.
So you are telling us it is like a love story. You are telling us, you know, this is what happened. You know, these are High Court, my friend. Article 125 is very clear. When we are here, we are sitting like a High Court. Anything you say, you are saying under oath. So you should be careful on what you are submitting before the House. We are not a kangaroo sitting. Isi baraza ya wazee. Patia sisi evidence. Give us the evidence. Don't tell us a story about the acting CEO. Tell if you do not have or you contravene the law, as has been read by Senator Ledama. Tell us this should have happened. If it did not happen, don't tell us something, because this you did. CEO, before I finish, don't run yourself into contempt of this committee, because it will be contemptuous to say something that you cannot substantiate. Please provide the letters.
All right, that is what was happening when the CEO of KEMSA, that is the suspended CEO, was being grilled because of the misappropriation of funds, the COVID funds, by KEMSA. Now today, 241 people have tested positive of coronavirus in Kenya, and the Ministry of Health announced this in a televised statement today. The new cases pushed the total number of positive cases in our country to 33,630, and 228 are Kenyan citizens, while 47 are foreigners between the age of 1 and 89 years old, while we have 192 being male and 89 female. At the same time, Kenya has announced 66 more recoveries of the pandemic, bringing the total number of those that have recovered to 19,434, but we have no deaths that were reported in the last 24 hours.
Today we report 241 people have tested positive following the testing of 4,520 samples over the last 24 hours. This brings to 33,630 the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. And our cumulative tests now stand at 442,713. From these 241 cases, 228 are Kenyans, while 47 are foreigners. 152 are male, 89 are female. The youngest is 1 year old, the oldest is 86 years old. I'm happy to inform you that we have discharged 66 patients 40 coming from the home-based care program and 26 from various hospitals. This brings our recoveries now to 19,434. And again, we want to thank our healthcare workers for the good work that has enabled us to achieve these results. I'm also glad today to inform you that we have no reported deaths, and our fatality still stands at 567.
Well, it is good news that no death cases have been reported in the last 24 hours. This is an encouraging message, and we hope and pray that this will be the case moving forward. Now to other news, 37% of Kenyans are in support of the recent calls to amend the 2010 Constitution. And this is according to a survey that was done by the Kenyan Christian Professionals Forum, citing that 38% of Kenyans are not in the know for calls of amendment. According to the survey, the proposed amendments are touching on the implementation of the devolution and the distribution of resources. Now, 90% of Kenyans also believe that parents have the primary responsibility for educating their children in matters of sex education, while 85% are against the legalization of abortion.
85% of Kenyans are against the legalization of abortion in all instances. A further 9% of Kenyans also reject abortion on request, but would allow abortion in some cases, like to protect a mother's life. 90% of Kenyans are against the legalization of homosexual behavior. 85% of Kenyans believe that homosexual behavior is something that people learn as they grow up. Article 45 of the Constitution of Kenya affirms that marriage is for two adult persons of the opposite sex.
Well, this report says that 90% of Kenyans believe that parents are supposed to be responsible for introducing sex education to their children. Now, I would like to get your views on this. Who do you think is responsible? Is it the parents or the teachers in school? Who is responsible for introducing the sex education to their children? Send in your responses through the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316, also through the SMS line 20316. Known as Shisia, you're saying, hello Sarah, both parents and teachers are responsible for educating their children on sexuality matters. Peers also play a role. I'm tuned in from Imara Daima. Thank you so much for tuning in. I also have someone else. You didn't give me your name, but you're saying, hey Sarah, on that topic of discussion, parents are supposed to be responsible, and I agree with the report that says 90% agree with the fact that parents are responsible for introducing sex education to their children. Thank you so much for that response. Do not be left out. Send in your feedback. We are asking, there's actually a report that has been released saying that 90% of Kenyans think that it is the responsibility of parents to introduce sex education to their children. Are you in agreement with this? Who should be responsible for introducing this topic to the young ones? Is it the parents or the teachers? Send in your feedback. And now, who's up for some referendum? Well, the part of the Orange Democratic Movement leadership and members of the Building Bridges Initiative team of experts met today with the 47 ODM county chairpersons for brainstorming session, and this is on the matters of the BBI and calling for a referendum. The leaders who met in Nairobi said they will be ready for a referendum at any time, and they will be mobilizing themselves to push for the amendment of the Constitution. The BBI report is expected to be presented to the president and the ODM party leader Raila Odinga in the coming weeks.
Ambao sisi kama wenyekiti wa chama kubwa sana Kenya hii ya ODM ambayo tumekubaliana kwa kauli moja, tunaunga mkono rais wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta pamoja na ndugu yake ambaye ni kiongozi wa chama chetu Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga kwa hii mambo ya BBI. Wakenya wanaengoja, na kuna wale sisi tunajua kwamba wanapinga, na sisi tunataka kwenda mashinani tuone kwamba tumeanza kuweza sera zetu za hii BBI ili iweze kufaulu. Jambo la pili ni kwamba sisi hatuungi mkono wale watu ambao wanapatikana kwa mambo ya corruption katika nchi hii. Sisi tumesema kila mtu abebe mzigo wake, kama upatikana na kashfa mwenyewe ubebe mzigo wako, chama haitakusaidia. Sisi tunasema kwamba tumejitoa kwa hayo mambo ambayo wale wanalagai wa Kenya pesa zao. Nikimalizia ni kwamba sisi tuko tayari kwa referendum yoyote ambayo itawekwa mbele yetu, na sisi tutarudi mashinani kutoka leo kwanza kuongea na wajumbe wetu wa chama kutoka katika ward level kuelekea katika county level, ili tuwaambia kwamba sasa tuko tayari na tunataka kuanza kumobilize wafuasi wetu kuona kwamba hii BBI imepita vile inatakikana, na tunataka kuona kwamba 2022 uchaguzi ukipigwa kutakuwa na vita, itakuwa uchaguzi wa amani, unapiga kura ukurudi kwako. Kwa hivyo hawa ni wenyekiti ambao wameweka hizo resolutions ambazo wamepitisha siku ya leo, na tutazifuata na tutaenda mtaani tuanze kupeana hayo majambo.
All right, in other news, all Mitumba importers shall be required to register with the Kenya Bureau of Standards as part of the measures agreed upon following talks between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Mitumba Association of Kenya. The measures were formulated after the head of state received a petition from the association highlighting the challenges they were experiencing as a result of the country's COVID-19 containment protocol. Under the new measures, importers will also be required to obtain a pre-shipment fumigation certificate in addition to complying with the health protocols as directed by the Ministry of Trade, Health and as well as the KEBS department.
Kujikinga kiafya, lakini pia tunataka sasa kurudisha biashara zetu. Na hizo biashara ambazo tunarudisha, tunataka kuzirudisha tukiwa na fikira mpya. Sio fikira ile ya zamani. Sio vile tulikuwa tunafanya kazi zamani. Tunataka kufanya biashara zetu tukitumia fikira mpya, fikira ya kusema nitafanya biashara yangu kwa njia gani, bado nikijikinga mimi na nikinge mteja wangu asije akapata virusi vya corona. Tutafungua tukiwa tumejadiliana na tumekubaliana. Si ni hivyo? Na ndipo nikasema waacha tusikie shida ya wenye biashara na tuone ni kwa njia gani sisi kama serikali tutaweza kutatua hizo shida, ndio watu wetu waweze kufanya biashara bila tabu, bila msongamano, bila mgorogoro kila siku. Because we are not here to impede people to do business. We are here to facilitate people to do business.
All right, this is good news for the second-hand traders and especially wale wa Gikomba, because finally they can be able to import the second-hand clothes. Now, the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government earlier today announced a plan to deepen partnership with faith-based institutions and its leaders to address an increase in cases of gender-based violence and crime. The surge in gender-based violence has been linked to the COVID-19 pandemic, with actors in the justice sector reporting the highest occurrence in March, April, June during the enforcement of movement restriction. The ongoing nationwide dusk to dawn curfew, which will remain in place after the lifting of the inter-county travel restrictions that was lifted and cited as a factor leading to the increased gender-based violence cases in Kenya.
So we desire to open up the economy some more. We must now begin to build grassroots capacities. And I am happy, as my brother has said, that the Ngawa administration across the country is part of the frontline team now as we move forward. These are the people we are going to rely on, not just on the enforcement of the containment measures, but on amplifying the public policy, as it were. And Ngawa is the most credible and probably most reliable amplifier of public policy across the board. So as we are emphasizing aspects of cleanliness and so on, we have now started working very closely with our officials at the grassroots to ensure that they now carry this message forward to wananchi in the barasas and how they engage with with the people, as it were.
All right. Your name is Mary and you tuned in from Gikomba. Mary unasema, that is good news for traders from Gikomba. At least we will be able to import our goods. Asante sana Mary for tuning in. I also have someone here and you're saying, hello Sarah. Shalom, Sarah. My name is Nixon. I'm tuned in from Nakuru. I like the fact that we should all be responsible for sex education, especially for the teenagers. It takes a community to raise a child. That is something that we almost forgot. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Send in your responses on the question that we are asking today. Who is responsible for introducing sex education to our children? Is it the parents or the teachers? And this is Charles from Kisumu. You're saying you're seeing me on telly for the first time. Asante sana, umezoea tu radio, but it's good to have you here today. Thank you so much. Rose from Nyeri, you're saying, hey Sarah, parents are responsible for sex educating their kids, but at what age are they supposed to start this topic? I have a video that shows how difficult it is to explain sex to a child. And this is a tough calling, especially for parents. But according to you, it's actually the responsibility of parents to introduce this topic to their children. Thank you so much for that. Martin Dungu unasema on the story ya Gikomba, Mary wa Gikomba kujie maziwa. Thank you so much. But indeed, when we have the importation of second-hand classes, it's good news and it's booming business for watu wa Gikomba and the whole of the second-hand market in general. Now, an e-vendor program aimed to support fish farmers in Kirinyaga County has been launched by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. The project is expected to be launched in 17 other counties as it tackles the issue of lack of fish supply in our country. 50 farmers have been selected from across the country to represent the farmers and have also received a fish ponder liners to help them build more fish ponds. Listen in. Well, we'll be having that story a bit later, but for now, let's talk about Kazi Mtaani, and it has been on for quite some time since the president launched this program. And youth from South B who had participated in the Kazi Mtaani initiative launched by the president himself have threatened to demonstrate for their wages. And more than 160 youth claimed to have worked through the first phase of the initiative and were let go after staging protests demanding for their rights. So that is very unfortunate, and it's something that is happening in most of the parts of the country where people are taking part in the Kazi Mtaani initiative, but because of the delay in the payment, they're actually calling on the president and those in charge of this initiative to look up to this matter and actually find a solution to this problem that they are having. Well, still on the topic of today, you're saying strict laws can reduce crime, but ethical construction of character can end crime. Parents should know that. This is Martin Dungu. Thank you so much for tuning in today. On Facebook, I can actually see someone who's texting in. Unasema, it should be the responsibility of the whole community, let alone parents and also teachers. Everyone should be responsible. Well, thank you so much for that. And you're in agreement with what one of the guys that texted in from Nakuru said. Alafu hapa, this is John Abanda from Luocho in Bungoma. And you're saying the constitution ilianziwa, mwanzilishi wa constitution ni Kivuta Kibwana in 1990. And then to Raila Odinga, kupigania katiba ni safi. Kupigania katiba hii safi. All right. I'm trying to understand what you meant there, John from Bungoma. But thank you so much for tuning in. Pia nikono mwingine saying, my name is Millicent and I'm tuned in from Naivasha. I like the topic that you're discussing. I personally have introduced sex education to my children. Yes, I like what someone said. The problem is when to introduce it, but once started, the job is easier. So parents should take up this responsibility. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Remember the story on Kazi Mtaani? Well, let's look at what the youth had to say about it.
Zambia waziri achunguze hii mambo inaendelea huku chini chini, kwanza hadi unaweza pata watu wameandikwa kazi, si ati wameandikwa kazi the right way, wametumia hizi vitu hongo nini kidogo kidogo kupata hiyo kazi. So wanafaa investigate penye hii pesa ilienda, cause there is corruption everywhere.
Unanyadai ngiri 10, kunanyadai ngiri 6. Tumejaribu kutafuta kila way ya kuongea tupate pesa, tumejaribu maandamano,
baada tumeshindwa, tukavutwa kazi kwa sababu ya kudai pia pesa yetu.
Nilikuwa nafanya hii kazi na nikanyang'anywa pesa. Sasa mimi nataka wanipea hiyo pesa niweke biashara juu sasa nahangaika na watoto wangu kwa nyumba.
Tafanya nini? Si tunaomba tu tulipo mshahara yetu, hata hatutaki kazi. Tunaomba mshahara yetu tusaidie familia zetu.
Na tunataka vijana waweze kulipwa pesa zao. Intimidation za kuwaambia kwamba sasa mlifanya mgomo, mmefutwa, ni intimidation ambazo ziliisha na ule wakati wa Moi. Sasa hii we are a very independent country. We have the right to speak. So we are speaking and we are asking the government through the PS to tell the boys where their money is.
All right, that is very unfortunate there when the youth that came out to take part in the Kazi Mtaani initiative have not received their money yet. On the question of today, Remy Kipchirchir is saying, I do believe it's upon the parents to start the conversation with their children on the subject of sex education. And it can also fall upon the community to educate the young people about such a topic. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, kuna mwingine, you didn't give me your name, but you're saying, hey, Sarah, it's the responsibility of both the parents and the teacher, 50-50. Thank you for your responses. Cliff Ombeta. Cliff Omwenga. I don't know why I called you Ombeta, but thank you so much for tuning in. You're saying, hello, Sarah. Everyone is concerned to sexually educate both parents and teachers. Thanks for your motivation songs. Thank you so much. You're tuned in from Nakuru, Njokerio sub-location. Asante sana for tuning in. Vincent Mulinge from Thika, you're saying we should be very careful on who is to teach the children about sex education because we have very dangerous sex predators at home and in school who can easily take advantage of that topic, and this is very important and we should be taking note of that considering that the early pregnancy cases are in the increase in our country. Thank you so much, Vincent, for pointing that out. Well, we now head over to South Africa where a violent protest broke out in Johannesburg suburbs following the gunning down of a disabled teenage boy allegedly by the South African police on patrol. Police fired tear gas, stun grenades and rubber bullets to repel hundreds of angry protesters which was taking place in Eldorado Park in the southern Johannesburg. Now the protests were sparked by the death of a 16-year-old boy that was killed the previous night, and Petunia Julius, the sister to the deceased, named Nathaniel Julius, told local television stations that police opened up fire after his brother failed to respond to questions due to his disability.
He was fucking 10 years old when I heard.
You know what? Is it 9 millimeters, Baba. Live ammunition they're using against us. Man, baby. That's people they mean. That's laying here.
Well, that is very unfortunate news there from South Africa. Now to other news, the Republican National Convention concluded Thursday night and the fall campaign season officially kicks off with President Donald Trump having officially accepted the GOP nomination for a second term as president in the speech that he delivered from the White House South Lawn. Trump's 70 minutes speech in front of some 2,000 largely maskless supporters, and in this case, please take note, all the supporters were not wearing any masks, was capped with Trump 2020 spelled out in fireworks with the Washington Monument as a backdrop. The night brought a close to 2 weeks of underpreparedness political conventions that also kick-started the presidential campaign homestretch, reaffirming several of the themes likely to play in major roles in the successes and failures of those in the ballot come November.
My fellow Americans, tonight, with a heart full of gratitude and boundless optimism, I profoundly accept this nomination for President of the United States. Joe Biden is not a savior of America's soul. He is the destroyer of America's jobs. And if given the chance, he will be the destroyer of American greatness. For 47 years, Joe Biden took the donations of blue-collar workers, gave them hugs and even kisses.
And this is what his supporters had to say.
It's incredibly strong. You know, we had record unemployment. We had, the stock market was making records every day. Across the board, the economy is really strong. And this pandemic is only temporary. It's going to end eventually, and businesses are going to restart. So the question is, who has the experience to rebuild the economy?
He owns like 15 hotels.
Even delegates unable to attend the convention because of social distancing protocols say they don't blame the president for the current state of unemployment.
I don't think people are necessarily blaming the president more than just the shutdown and the nature of COVID.
The economy's doing pretty decent. If you look at it, I mean, with what it has to play with, I think we're in a good place right now from an economic perspective. I love the economic policies that President Trump has. I think President Trump, if he would tweet less, and which I think he's done a fantastic job.
Well, I think the only way I personally feel that we can get the economy back is to shut down the pandemic. So we have to, I think as a nation, decide that we have to do.
Well, I like what one of the supporters has said. If president could tweet less. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Paris from Kabete, and you're saying, hi, Sarah, good topic there. Sex education should start early. Okay, sex education should go hand in hand with toileting. At the time a child starts to respond to his or her own name, the fact of whether he is a boy or a girl should be taught. To avoid gender crisis in kids, to me, that is part of sex education. It should be taught early enough. Thank you so much. And also, John, for tuning in today. We really appreciate. Now, we've come to the end of this show and the end of this week. And I want to thank you so much for keeping us on air. To all our partners, we are very grateful that you have stood with us all this time. 20 years down the line, that is no joke. So thank you so much for being a partner and for always supporting us. And if you want to be a partner, just send in the word partner to 20316, and surely someone will get back to you and explain to you what partnering means, and you can always support us in whatever small way that you can. Prayer Circle is coming in next, so remember to send in your prayer requests and also your praise reports as we pray together. But for now, it's a good night from me. Take care of yourself during the weekend, and I will see you on Monday.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.